Welcome everyone. I'm just going to give it a few minutes here while people come in. Tim, are you here? Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here, Leann.
Awesome.
I,
Fun. You can feel
I
free to
can't
come on.
I can't put on it won't let me come on video. It says you've disabled it.
I think I went through this last time too. Why does it do that? Maybe if I make you a co-host, will it now let you?
Oh
There.
yes, yeah.
Awesome. All right. Welcome everyone. Um, my name is Leann, and this is Timothy. Timothy Bacon is a part of my mentorship. He is a cohort there, and he is also building his own human design business. So I've asked him to come on, and he is going to play around in the Q&A. So you guys can ask questions throughout the webinar. As well, I want to thank our um, co-creators in this, a bodygraph chart, the bodygraph chart team. They are hopefully in the vicinity here attending. So if there's any questions from them as we go through. Also, I would like to invite Algis and Gitis and Victoria, if they are here from the bodygraph team. If there's anything that you want me to bring up, please do that. Throw it in the Q&A or in the chat, and I will make sure that we go down that path. So let's just set the stage for today. Today, we're going to have a conversation around the 2027 shift. It seems to be a very hot topic in the human design community. And I'm going to bring it to you through the lens that is my lens, and one that isn't as maybe pessimistic as Ra's outlook on this. He was a little afraid of the 2027 shift. Tim and I have been playing in this material for a while, and truly, I don't think there's anything to be afraid of. I think that there's grace in all of this if we allow it to be true. So again, I'm going to open it up. You guys, if there's any questions that you want to ask as we walk through, I'm not going to wait around for other people to join. I'm just going to go forward, and we are going to play in the material. So Tim, before we get started, is there anything that you want to bring up as you're playing in this material today and walking through? Was there anything that you wanted to share before we start? And I'll bring you in on the conversation as we walk along too.
I would just say I think I agree with you. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about. I just think when you surrender to your design, if you're on your experiment and you lean into the integration, then things the anticipation is there. You know, you can fulfill, manifest whatever you dream. So yeah, it's very exciting. As a sixth line being as well, I'm a 6'2", coming off the roof at the moment. So I've got eyes on 2027, definitely. Yeah,
Nice. Awesome.
thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. All right, we will jump in. So Tim, I'm going to let you play in the Q&A. So if there's anything that comes up and you want to interrupt me, feel free to do that. So I'm going to take you guys back to like where we are now to where we're going to be. And where we have been for the last 411 years until the end of 2026. Actually, this is going to take us into up to February 14th of 2027. And that is the cross of planning and the cross of Maya energy. So where we were for the last 411 years is this cross of Maya, cross of planning. And I'm going to take you guys deeper into what that looks like in the body graph so that you understand it. And then where we are going, February 15th of 2027, we are going to shift into the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration. So where we are right now, what is happening with the cross-up planning? The cross-up planning identifies, they have this deep identification with socialism and raising money for scientific methodologies. Why do we know that? Well, if we just go in and we explore these 4 keys that we're unlocking these particular gates of the G center. These are called the locks, which I'm going to walk you through that. The Krasamaya, it was dependent on the mental inspiration to know the unknowable and name that unknowable, because there was a fear of extinction and the ending of a phase. So the Krasamaya had these 4 keys for these 4 locks. Okay. Now, where we are going to the sleeping phoenix. The sleeping phoenix is the mutation to our sexual reproduction, what we eat, what we contemplate for wisdom, the way we use our personal power. There's going to be a massive mutation that goes through this energy field. And the cross of penetration is the mutative penetrating energy. It's going to shock humanity into a new, intuitive, ambitious beginning. And again, I'm going to look at these 8 locks that we're talking about and these 8 keys. So we're going to play inside of that. Okay. Any questions up to this point, Tim? We're all good? If there's any questions, please feel free to put it in, anybody that is here. So if you notice, there is a beautiful graph right here in the middle. And what this is showing us is the locks and keys. Well, where do we find those locks and keys? We find those locks and keys in the G center. The G center, this is the whole point of the G center, as what it does is it helps us lock into the energy field that is currently on our earth plane. So right now, the locks for the gates are through the cross of planning and the cross of Maya. We will be shifting for those keys to be inside the cross of the sleeping phoenix and the cross of penetration. So let's just walk through this so that you guys can kind of grasp what this means for you. So for 411 years, we had the cross of planning. Well, what do we know about the cross of planning? We know that the cross of planning has such a deep relationship to socialism, to community, to building large organizations, building governments. And you will notice that the Industrial Revolution took place in this timeline. We will notice that there was large businesses that were built up all over the earth plane during this period of time. And where we are moving to an individual integrated space where the cross of planning and the cross of Maya actually had us make decisions based off of an outside authority. Okay. And what I mean by that is that we let the outside authorities, scientists, government, legislation, large business, we basically handed over our decision making to them in the hopes that they would actually have our best interest at heart.
Leann, may I interrupt? Some of the
Yes.
delegates are asking if you can put it into presentation mode to get
Okay.
full screen.
Okay. I will do that. I'm just thinking about okay. Slideshow. Current slide. All right. Does that work better, Tim?
It seems to be for me. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right, now I can't see you, but I know that you're there. All right, so what we know about socialism is that we handed our authority, okay? We took our authority and we handed it over to these large organizations in the hopes that they would actually have our best interest at heart. Now, in some cases, they probably did, and others, they probably didn't. But we were trained, all of us here on this particular call for sure, we have all been trained to hand our authority over. Why? Because it was a part of the background frequency. So we have been indoctrinated into this space where we didn't know how to make decisions. We outsourced our decisions, and we outsourced our decisions to those larger organizations. However, now what we are being asked to do is to reintegrate, come back to our decision making, go back into the depths of who we are as individuals, and come back to that space where we make decisions based on an aspect that we are self-full. You could, some of the language that Ra uses is selfish, but it's this self-full space where we are fully embodied and integrated so that we can make decisions and interact with the world through that aligned space. Okay. So it's going to take probably the next 40, 50 years for us to really embrace this. Okay. Just so you guys are aware that it doesn't have to happen overnight. It can with human design. However, there's going to be this shift that's going on in humanity, and it's probably going to take 20, 30, 40, 50 years for humanity to really embody a new decision making process. Okay. So let's take a look at the locks and the keys, and we're going to just walk around. Okay. So what you're going to notice here is that these are the 8 gates that are inside the G center. Okay. And those 8 gates have particular spaces that they hold inside the mandala. So we're going to just walk through these to see where we were so that you can recognize where we're going. And it does feel a little chaotic in the world. It always will when there's a big energy shift going on. The outside world is designed to do that. We are designed to be watching right at this moment. We're designed to be watching the crumbling or the destruction of these large organizations, because there's going to be a brand new way of doing business, of interacting with each other. It's going to all stem from this more integrated, more spiritual based energetic that's coming up. So if you're noticing how there's a lot of pushback against government right now, there's a lot of pushback about large business. There's so many human beings on the planet right now questioning every single decision our governments are making, because it's like, whose pockets are being lined and whose best interest is being put forth. So where we were in the 10th gate. So the 10th gate is all about our nature. So how do we know this? Because the 10th gate is all about behavior. It is our nature. So you will notice that the 10th gate is also a part of our role gates when you're talking human design language. So where we were, okay, we were in this 9th gate, which is all about logical focus. We had this logical focus. And what do we know about the 9th gate? Well, we know that the 9th gate is all about, it's actually really good at raising funds. It's actually really good at raising money for scientific research. So that has been such a large focus. And the other part I want to just bring to you before I go forward is that we are moving from a 1st line energy field right now to a 6th line energy field. So what that also tells you is that that first line energy field that the background frequency of this cross-planing and cross-maya is sitting in right at the moment, it's all about information. Now, I don't know about you, but I know for myself, information overload can happen in my world if I allow it, because everybody's trying to stream into the consciousness field everything that they know right now. Everybody's trying to get this information out so that it's there, because the sixth line, when we shift into that on February 15th of 2027, we are shifting into a role model energy. Role models are not seeking information. They are going within and they are operating from a Buddhahood kind of energy. So that's why you're going to see that there are hundreds of, probably hundreds of millions of different courses right now getting uploaded onto the internet to get them out into cyberspace, because that's what the energy field is telling us. Okay. So we know our nature is going from a very logical, focused energy to one that is actually of personal power. And this is going to surprise us: common sense. Common sense on how we are going to use our own personal power. How are we going to integrate our own personal power along the way? Okay, so that's the energy field of where we're going in our nature. The first gate. What do we know about the first gate? Well, the first gate is all about being an example. The first gate is very creative. It's that creative self-expression. And where we are going in the first gate is we are going from being an example of having a lot of fear about continuity and really focusing on manifestation. So any of you here, if you're manifestation coaches, there's no doubt in my mind why you're a manifestation coach, because it's like, geez, that's in the background. How can we manifest a vital life? That's what this energy field is asking us until we move over to the 57. And on February 15th, 2027, we're going to move into the example of intuition. This is the utilization of our own intuition. So this energy field is going to assist us because it's in the background. It's going to allow us to get really more in tune with our own personal power and common sense and our own intuition and how to utilize it. So if there's any intuition coaches here, that's where we're heading. Okay. We're closing off this energy field of being fearful of extinction to actually leaning into utilizing our own intuition in the future. That's going to be the example that's going to be around our earth plane. Then we have the 46. The 46 is all about the body. It's about the temple. Well, where were we? We were here in this 40th gate, recuperation. Well, what do we know right now is that our food system was highly hijacked over the last few years, because if the food, if your gut flora isn't correct, then the brain cannot be fully online. And when the brain can't be fully online, then it's difficult to actually connect with your source energy. Okay. So where are we going with the temple? It's very interesting. We are going to this space where the physical body, as Ra would indicate, is our sexuality and our reproduction is going to change. And I believe it's, and I shouldn't throw my beliefs in here, but what I can grasp from these mechanics is that the body needs to recuperate after 411 years of our food system being tampered with. So because of that tampering, our reproductive capacity may dwindle. Okay, it may dwindle. And we're going to notice that how we connect sexually is going to be a little bit different than how we connected sexually up until this point. Okay, the physical body, the temple, will want to connect in new ways. Now, it is going to feel that we're going to achieve union in different manners. Before, that 40th gate was a lot about aloneness, and the 59 is about achieving union, but it's going to look different. A lot of one night stands, a lot of diminished capacity to reproduce. If we look at the 7, what do we know about the 7? The 7 is all about leadership. So leadership, where we were with leadership, was a lot about logic. It was a lot about routine, details. So in this case, sometimes they were lying to us about facts, using facts to keep us in this space of, well, you have to trust me because I have all the facts. Okay. So that's how leaders were walking and leading us. But in the future, what's going to happen is that there's going to be this interesting new energy field that is going to lead us to new beginnings. What do we know about the 53? Well, we know that the 53 has the capacity for us to use that energy field to then grow and really mature. But it's going to be this brand new phase right now. And when we're talking about phasing, this is really getting, very selective down here in this 54 on what new beginning is going to be correct for us. So new beginnings are going to be a part of this energy, and we're going to feel this energy field of new beginnings for like 411 years. So there's going to be a lot of new things being birthed on our earth plane as we walk through the next 411 years, versus logical details. It's going to be more about cycles and experiences. Experiences are going to be more sought after than the logical routine and the details. So we're going to want leaders in our world that have experienced something new in the business world. And why I go there is because of this 54. So we'll play with that as well. Then we have gate 15. Gate 15 is all about humanity, and it gives us the pattern. So where we were was in this skills, the 16th gate, which is all about skills. But for the since 1958, we've been in a delusion of that. So the pattern of skills, the 16th gate is also keynoted as identification. So we got identified as a collective to some delusions. And of course, what do we know about those delusions? Oh, you're going to keep giving me your authority, and I'm going to keep making decisions for you. It was a real delusion, and we forgot to identify with ourselves. Where are we going in the future? Well, we are going to the 20th gate, which is all about wisdom. And what I love about the 20th gate is that it has this capacity to deeply contemplate. Where am I using my personal power and also my intuition, and what behavior am I putting into this particular manifestation? So Tim, is there anything that, well, we're halfway through here, I guess more than halfway, is there anything that anybody is questioning or you need to bring up to me?
No, I've covered all questions. Yeah,
Awesome.
everything's all okay this end. Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. Okay. So then we are looking at the second gate. Well, what do we know about the second gate? First and foremost, we know that inside each one of our individual body graphs, the second gate is our driver. This is where the magnetic monopole is holding together our illusion. Okay. So that the design crystal and the personality crystal can have this human experience The monopole is holding us there. It is our driver. So what is driving the background frequency? What is the plan for the background frequency? Well, it was growth, okay, before, up until the end of 2026, it was growth. So we're closing a cycle of diversification. We are actually closing that cycle. And again, what did we see? We saw large business, we saw industrial revolution. Right now, we are seeing the advent of artificial intelligence and how this whole tech thing is growing and coming online. And unfortunately, a lot of people are using AI as now their outsourced tool to make decisions. Now, again, human design is here to help you reconnect internally so that you're no longer tricked by the delusion. And of course, what is AI? It's going to create a lot of delusion. In the next couple of years, it is going to dilute completely what is going on and what we see through our eyeballs on our screens. Now, is that good or bad? You get to process that however you need to. But understand that this growth, they're going to hit a wall. They're going to hit a wall with this because that's no longer the plan. What the plan is actually going to shock us. Okay, the 51. It's going to shock us into this space of separating out of the collective and the tribe, and we are going to get catapulted and shocked into who we are individually on this plane, our own integrated energy field. So the plan is through that background frequency, it's no longer going to be about growth, diversification. It is going to be about this separation and separating ourselves from the tribe, from the collective. Okay. If we look at the 25 is innocence. The 25 is the way. Where we were was community, building community. Okay. The mother father energy. That's what's been any of us here in the coaching world, any of us here in healing and trauma and therapy. What wound have we been so focused in on is the mother father wound. And that has been happening since 1958, where people are recognizing, oh, there needs to be a different way to parent. There needs for us to repair that energy field because that was the way we were designed to repair that. Now, where are we going? Going back to this way of abundance, that 55th gate spirit. But that spirit, it feels like there's selfishness in there. Why? Because it needs to be separate from the tribe. It needs to have this space that it no longer is fearful of extinction, but it is actually opening up to the abundance that is available. The abundance that is available. So in your businesses, recognize, in your families, in your, your fridges, all of these things that are happening, recognize that what spirit you put into it is going to dictate the level of abundance that you feel inside of everything. Now, I don't mean that your businesses have to earn billions of dollars. That's not what I mean. Is it available? Yes. But what is the spirit that you're putting behind that? And I would totally highly recommend that you tap into energy management. That is your decision making. Because if you are caught up in time management and trying to manage time, time is ticking by no matter what. But the minute you go deep into being selfish and holding on to your own decision making, now you operate your life, your business, your home, all of that through energy management versus time management. Okay. So the way forward is no longer about mother, father, community, all of that. It's going to be about what is the spirit behind it all. What is your spirit behind all of that? And then we have gate 13. Gate 13, secrets, right? It's the witness, that gate 13. It's witnessing everything going on, but there's also a deep secrecy that happens. So we know this because we watched it all take place, is that there was this occult knowledge that seemed to be very secret from a whole bunch of people. And we began to witness that there's this unveiling as we move farther over to the new witness. There's this unveiling of this unknown energy field to us. Okay, so we're witnessing that in real time, these deep secrets. And where are we heading? We are going to head into a whole new capitalistic energy field. This 54th gate, okay, 54 is the start of a new capitalistic adventure. And that ambition that is designed to help you fuel your movement forward, it's going to be all about selectivity. Because, as I said before, right now, information overload has most entrepreneurs stuck in the mud. It has most human beings comparing themselves to other human beings, because the first line is deeply entrenched in providing a solid foundation. But the only solid foundation that you need is your own foundation, so that you can embody your own energy field. So being very selective, what businesses are you going to support? How are you going to select who you work with in your businesses? Going to be a very selective energy, because there's going to be such an influx of information that's going to pile into our knowing. Okay, so you want to be very aware and witness. What is it that you are going to lean into as this ambitious new capitalistic world comes online? Because the old way is crumbling, and we're watching that take place right now, real time. Okay.
Leann, may I interrupt, please?
Yes.
A delegate
Yes.
has asked, energy management and time management, not sure that I understand. Please, can you give some real life examples?
Energy management is purely decision making from your strategy and authority. That is how you manage your energy. You only interact with what is correct for you through your strategy and authority. And that is the shift that we're going into for 2027. No longer trying to manage time, because time goes by for all of us. We all have the exact same amount of time. But if we're managing time, we are forgetting about our body, and we're letting our conditioned mind run the show. So you want to flip the script on that and get really good at decision making, so that the mind, that conditioned mind, is no longer running the show. You are fully embodied and in control of your decision making. And when you are in control of your decision making, now the conditioned mind, that small mind that's constantly telling you, you should do this, you could do that. If you would do this, this could happen. Would you just do this because that can happen? All of that natter and chatter up there, you bypass it, and then you're connected with your driver. Well, what is your driver? It is the second gate. It's your monopole. It is your higher self. There is a plan, and your plan is in your particular human design body graph with your decision making. And when you connect with your decision making and the mind is no longer making decisions, you bypass it, and then you start connecting with your higher self. And now when you do that, and you're leaning into manifestation, you're leaning into intuition, you're leaning into your own wisdom and the common sense that's available to us, and utilizing all of this. Okay, now all of a sudden you're the no longer is that conditioned mind running your show. So you're not managing time, and you're just managing your energy, and you only connect with what's correct with you. That's it. Does that help?
Yes, someone's just said thank you. That's great.
Yeah. All right. So I'm not going to go over this chart. I think we're going to open it up for more question and answer because that's both Tim and I really shine in that aspect. But I would recommend everybody pull up. You can do this on bodygraphchart.com. You can go in and create this particular body graph for the 2027 shift. It's February 15th, 2027 at 22:10. And London, England, you can put in London, England. Greenwich Mean Time is how all of this gets processed. So London is as close that you can get. But why is it happening on that day? Well, it's happening on that day because Uranus was discovered in 1781 through Pluto's activations of 41.2 in the design and 41.5 in the personality. Okay. And that is going to return on this date here. So what do we know about the 41st gate? We know that it is our start codon, and the energy field for that shift, okay, on that day, this is the transit that's going to take place. So you guys can play with that if you want. I gave you the information for the locks and the keys so that you get the larger earth plane energy field that's going to make the shift. But you can play with this 2027 shift on this day, that transit as well, okay? And recognize that Chiron is also in the third gate. So what do we know? What do we know for sure is that we will be building brand new, taking chaos and creating order out of this chaos. And that's why you guys are here in human design, because the way to do that, okay, the way to do that is through decision making and alignment to your own particular human design body graph. And the moment you align to that, all of this energy, okay, all of this energy that's here, it is not going to pull you off your game because you will be able to interact with it through your design. So if you have any of the gates, for example, if you have any of the gates that were in the Krasa planning, Krasa Maya for the last 411 years, it's gonna feel comfortable. Okay, it's gonna feel comfortable. You're gonna understand this. It's gonna be in the background frequency, and you're gonna understand it. So if you have any first lines, you will know that having the solid foundation, really researching, getting that information, all of that is really important. Okay. And now as we shift over to the 2027 energy, if you have any of these gates, again, it's going to feel it's like a companion to you. You'll understand the energy. You will recognize the energy in the background because it is part of who you are already. So you will notice that the energy starts to, like, people also are, you'll recognize that in other people. Okay. But it feels comfortable to you. It's going to have a comfort level. Like I'm a 1-3 and Tim's a 6-2. So my first line is going, oh my God, right? How am I going to fit into this 6-line energy that's all about role model, right? It's on two opposite ends of the hexagram. Well, the solid foundation that I already operate from my design, I am also being a role model for it. So that 6th line, it's going to feel foreign to my first line. But the more I just settle in to my solid foundation, this 6th line energy field that's in the background, it's not going to pull me off. I'm going to be able to be in awe and wonder and watch how role models are going to, really shine in this energy field. Okay. And remember that it's a 411-year cycle. So you're looking at, I think it's approximately 70 years for each line to go through. So it'll be 70 years on line 6, then line 5, then line 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So if you have any of these in your body graph, it'll feel like, oh, okay, like it's a companion to you in the collective and in the tribe and in other individuals. And one of the myths I just want to touch base. One of the myths is that the tribe is going away. There's going to be no more tribe. No, it's just that the tribal energy of socialism is not going to be the background frequency for humanity. The background frequency is going to be all about integration, making our own decisions and leaning into that instead of leaning into giving a large business or a government your authority. Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm going to read a couple out to you, Leanne. So
Sure.
Karen asks, can you say again about what you said about Uranus back in the 1700s? I've been
Yep.
curious about this, but missed what you said. Thank you.
So in 1781, um, that's when Uranus was quote unquote discovered. It's not that it hadn't already always been there, but that is when I guess humanity looked up in the sky and had the capacity to see it. And once it was discovered, what happened with humanity is that we went from the seven-centered being, right, that we're all very familiar with, the seven chakra system, making decisions mentally. We went from that to this nine-centered body graph. And the seven-centered energy field was based in Saturnian energy field. And Saturn, that 30-year process. So what you'll notice is that when you look at history, they talk about how women were having children at the age of 15. They're getting married, having children. Most of the time men didn't live past 30 years old because it was our physical bodies were more Saturnian. And then once Uranus was discovered or seen in the sky, this nine-centered being became a part of our fabric. And through that, we actually extended our life to 84 years. So in human design, you can get a Uranus opposition. And then when Uranus cycles around after 84 years, you can get a cycle chart. But our lifespan moved from 30 years to 84 years. So now midlife is around, 40 to 42 years old. That's our midlife. That's why you see a lot of children now staying at their parents' home, 20s and 30s, because we actually don't begin our maturing process until we're in our 40s. That's like midlife. Okay. So when Uranus was discovered, the Pluto was in the 41st gate. And that's why we are having this next shift is beginning when Pluto returns to that 41st gate. Okay. Does that clear it up for you? And we know that the 41st gate is our start codon. Okay. And what is it starting? It's starting the imagination. The 41st gate always asks us to contract down because this is how our DNA, the start codon, our DNA has a start codon that tells what the next sequence of DNA is going to be and what it's creating. So if it's creating a liver cell or a skin cell or a fingernail cell or a hair cell, there's always a start codon for the next sequence. So what the 41st gate always asks us to do is to contract it down into one feeling, into one sensation, so that we can then go forward and hand it over to the fates. Use that imagination and go, I'm going to imagine this and I'm just going to hand it over to the fates and I'm going to let go of it. Okay. So this channel here is such a deep imaginative channel. And again, where we're going, we don't really know what this next new background frequency is going to really feel like or or present itself to us, because all we know is what's in the past. We do know right now that we're watching things crumble in real time. And that is why human design came on the planet when it did, because it's helping you through this shift. Start making decisions internally. Don't outsource your decision making. If you are going onto ChatGPT or any kind of AI and you're trying to get that answer from that mechanism, you are still outsourcing your decision making. You want to be tapped into your cellular structure, into your body, into the wisdom that is here, because your driver is right here, the monopole, connecting everything together, holding everything together. Your driver is embedded in the physical body. So trust the wisdom of your physical body. That's why you are having a human experience. Anything else, Tim?
There's plenty, Leann, coming through thick and fast now. So let me read a couple. So Sarah says, it looks like we will be moving into the background frequency that has a manifesting generator quality. How will that affect other types? I'm a generator with a defined route and tend to feel stressed around the busyness of the manifesting generators.
So definitely has a manifestation quality, because that exactly is what the 3420 does. So again, Sarah, I want to lean you back into your decision making. Just watch the movement of everything around you and be solidly placed in your physical body, and only interact with the busy manifesting generators based off of your own response. Now, I don't know if you're emotionally as your decision making, but pay attention to your response. If you're leaning into an undefined route, and you're feeling that fuel or pressure to hurry or to move, and you haven't tapped into your response mechanism, that's the important piece. Tap into your wisdom of your body, and you just witness everything on the outside of your skin back, and you just interact with it as is correct for you. Okay? Because here's what's happening. So we all know that human design has this mandala. Okay? And what gate are we in right now, Tim? Are we in the 30 or the 55? I don't even know, because I don't pay attention to the transit.
30, in the 30.
30? Okay. So this is where we are right now in the transits for today. Okay. So what goes on is the sun moves around, all the planets are moving around, and they are doing their thing on the outside of the wheel, right? Why is human design so important? Because human design puts you in the center of your life. That's the whole selfish part. That is the whole self-full part. Your monopole is here to center you, so that as the transits go around and they're all moving around and they're bringing you all this information, all you have to do is sit in the center of your own alignment, and you interact with that energy field when it is correct for you. That's it. If you are chasing the wheel out here, because that sky clock is going to go around and around and around, and if you're chasing it or trying to figure it out or using your mind to chase after it and be really predictive, then you've forgotten how to use your own decision making. You want to be solidly placed right here, so that anytime a transit comes, anytime a human being comes, anytime a circumstance comes in, anytime anything comes towards your auric field, you now have a centered way of decision making. And when you center yourself inside your decision making, all of the stuff that is chasing around the wheel cannot pull you off center. It can't. All of that openness, that's just the juicy spot for you to have experiences. However, you are the operator of your experiences. You get to make the choice and the decision. I will interact with this or I will not interact with this. That's it. That's why design sets us apart from any other modality out there, because it teaches us decision making. And absolutely nothing begins unless we make a decision to interact with it. Tim?
I have a question. This is a good question. How does this fit into the seeming demise of democracy and the rise of fascism? I ask it not out of fear, but based on the global shift.
Yeah, because um, uh, my guess is that you're probably in the same mindset that I am, and we're watching this from a very aware space. Socialism, fascism, they do not want to let go of control. So every government in the world, every large organization, the coercion that is happening right now and the fear, if you don't do as I say, we are going to destroy humanity, blah, 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 all that stuff is happening, right? Well, of course it is, because they know, they they actually know these systems. They know astrology. They know this energy. So they know exactly how to control humanity. And how they're controlling us right now is through fear. Fear of extinction. If you don't do it my way, you're going to die. So that's why you're feeling and noticing the uptick of it, because it's it it knows it's dying. It's like the last kick of the can. Does that answer your question? And of course, what is it doing in the meantime is trying to destroy every family value that is possible, right? So for 411 years, we look at the world wars that took place, where we took, and again, you can look at this as my belief system, or you can just look at it as mechanics. The destruction of the family happened by you know, pulling women out of the home, uh, and basically saying that we no longer need men. We can do everything on our own. And there was a delusional energy field in that. Okay. So again, it's taking all of this energy field of the destruction of community based off of fear. Anything else, Tim?
Just give me a moment. I'm trying to keep up. Let me just get a good question here.
So I guess while Tim's grabbing a question, what I would say to you all is that just know that yes, things are crumbling. Okay, they are crumbling. However, you have one of the best tools in the world
Yeah.
to lean into, and that is the intelligence of your decision making, not from a conditioned mind, but from the wisdom and the intelligence of like this God created vessel.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
that intuitive response. It's actually trusting that intuitive response, which is part of integration, and hearing the voice, hearing that nudge, the gentle wind, and just relying on that. That's the survival aspect of the integration. But I have a question here. It's from an anonymous delegate. Why are we looking at the quantum for the 2027 shift? Why does this date have a design side?
So I anytime you go into like transits, you can choose for yourself whether or not you use the design side. We should be just looking at this, but when Ra spoke about it, he showed that on this exact date that Pluto was in the exact same position for both. So you can just lean into this. Okay. You can just lean into that energy, the transiting energy, because of course, what is it? It's playing on our mind. So you want to be aware of what that transit is, and then recognize that anytime there is a transit or a larger cycle shift, okay, anytime that there's a larger cycle shift, that anything on the design side feels like it's happening to you versus you thinking that it's happening to you is the difference between the black and the red. So you can look at it just through this lens of the personality. Yep. Anything else?
Okay, we've got one here. I heard the bodygraph dates will change and connect differently. I don't see this change in the 2027 bodygraph.
Yes, there is going to be so the rave children, okay? The rave children will have new energy fields where the 49 is actually going to become a part of the 5522, and the 19 is going to actually live between the 51 and the 53. Yeah. Anything else, Tim?
I'm just going through Leann. Just one moment, please. Okay, somebody's asking, are we entering the cross of the sleeping phoenix or the cross of penetration? But it's one and the same. Yeah, both one and the same.
Yep. We're moving into both of them because each one of these crosses holds 4 keys, and there is 8 locks, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So each one has 4 keys that it's bringing into this energy field. So it is both of them, sleeping phoenix and penetration.
Another, is Pluto moving into gate 41 in April of this year? Will this give us a taste of things to come?
Yep, totally does. So your outside planets, they move forward and then they go back and then they move forward. Um, I look at them like I see things like visually, and I think of them as like windshield wipers, right? They're clearing off this, but then they let the rain kind of come back on so that we can get another flavor of it, and then they come back and they clean it off. So yes, the 41st gate is just giving us a flavor until it leans into it in 2027.
Okay, Gabrielle is asking, I have the right angle cross of penetration 2. Will the 2027 shift enhance or dampen my energy fields?
So it's going to feel comfortable. Your purpose is it's in the frequency of our earth plane. So it's going to feel like your purpose is it's not going to dampen it. It's going to feel like it's a comfortable level, like a space for you to step into that purpose and just let it unfold.
Okay, Victoria asks, how will those with emotional solar plexus defined versus undefined shift?
So the solar plexus is going to shift from a motor, which it is right now, to an awareness center. However, it will still have the energy of a motor. The 30 and the 36 will still have the frequency of a motor. I know that there's some teachings out there that say that this is going to be pure awareness. It's not going to be pure awareness. There's still going to be a motor. And why is that? Because the solar plexus is connected to our nervous system, our lungs, our skin, the prostate, our breathing, our diaphragm. So there's still a motor frequency here, and it is still driven by that motor. but it's going to actually have more parts of awareness involved in it than motor. Right now, it's all motor, but it is going to be a deeper awareness. So, what's important for the solar plexus, what's so deeply key for people that have a solar plexus defined, is that you guys understand how your nervous system, how your skin, how your lungs, how you breathe, how all of that is actually putting a reverberation out into the field. I'm talking the consciousness field, okay? When it is unhealthy, it's very reactive, it's very triggered, it's very angry, because we know that anger is a deep part of this energy field going up here, because we know that this is manifested. That's how it's manifested, is through anger. Okay. So we know that there's lots of anger there. And I'm not saying that anger isn't good or bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that the moment that you understand the regulation of your own nervous system, then those with it undefined, okay, aren't, how do I want to say this? They are able to witness healthy and unhealthy emotional systems. So a healthy emotional system to me looks very different than an unhealthy emotional system. So again, where were we? We were in this space where food totally screwed around, because the 37 and the 40 are the mouth and the stomach. Totally. Our food was adjusted, and we got farther away from understanding our own physical body, our own nervous system, our own way of breathing. How many people breathe only on this part of their lungs instead of taking that deep breath and exercising the diaphragm, which is found in the sixth gate? So the food is so, so important, because if our gut flora isn't well, if our nervous system isn't well, that they tried to pull us off of that. And because we were not well, we gave them our decision making. Now what's happening? Of course, what do we know here? We know that we're going to the splenic energy, and the splenic energy is very connected to wellness. Reintegrating the physical body has a capacity to repair when we allow it and we stop interfering in what we eat. That's why primary health system is so important in human design. For the first 30 years, feeding our children correctly, not allowing all those toxins to be introduced into our children's bodies. So I don't know, that might have been a really long answer to a short question. And
Okay,
what are
we've
we
got
for
some
what are we for time, Tim? Are we I'm probably, yeah,
time.
okay.
Yeah, we've gone an
Um
hour, so
okay. Let's go for another 15 minutes. I could do this all day, you guys, just so you're aware, but anybody that thought we were going to be here for an hour, then I want to at least be able to honor that. Go ahead.
okay, you may have answered this because I'm trying to type and listen at the same time. But Nadia asks, somewhere I heard that some of the kids coming in after this shift will be more intuitive and may seem autistic, highly intuitive, and may not speak until the age of 5 or so. Is this
Yeah.
accurate, or can you speak about the changes that we may see in the kids? I think it's
Yeah.
easier for you to reply than me type that one.
So that's Ra's vision, and through the voice was given that there's going to be a very small geometry of human beings that are going to give birth to rave children, but we will notice that and I don't have autistic children, and I don't have them really in my life. So I can't really speak to this experientially. I have a few of them, but not like immediate family or anything. However, what I have noticed through witnessing these children is that they are more connected. They are telepathic. And because they're telepathic, what Ra was given was that they will actually operate in pentas, where the penta will be like a hive mind. Okay. But that really truly is for our rave children, and they come in on a very, very thin geometry. So not every child born after 2027 is a rave child. That's incorrect. They will be here, but there's not going to be, it's just along a very small fractal line that's going to happen. Okay. Like you're still going to see human intransitness for 13,000 years yet. So I don't know if I answered your question, but yes, you will see them, and they are more intuitive. They are telepathic, and their food intake is different, which doesn't surprise me because again, we're going away from this, this strange food system that we've been in for a very long time.
Someone asks, will the chat be available within the replay?
Hmm.
There is a way of saving chat, isn't there, on Zoom, I believe.
Should it's recording, so I believe that it's going to happen. I don't know if anybody's an expert in Zoom. Is there something that I need to do besides record this? Because it is being recorded, so.
I think you may have covered this, but someone asks, speaking of food, Laura speaks about eating according to your design.
Yes.
So does it really matter food quality so long as we are correct? Seems like it can be the holy grain moving forward, but that would be variables, wouldn't it? PHS.
Yeah. So Ra did speak about that. He spoke in the manner of you know, just eat your PHS, and you guys get to experiment with that. I choose to live a life where I ingest as clean a food as possible that isn't processed, that isn't been manipulated in any way. I'm also a third color. So I want to be able to adjust the temperature and manipulate my own food versus someone else doing it. So I would just indicate to you, do as you need to for your primary health system. But what I, recognize deeply is that the 37 and the 40 being in the background frequency, and just watching and doing my own research around this, is that when the gut health isn't correct and the toxins are too high, the physical body can't connect with the cognition. And that's what primary health system does for us. So you get to do what you need to for your PHS so that your cognition comes online. And what does that mean? That means that's your connection with your higher self. Mine is feeling, Tim's is feeling. Some people may have taste, touch, inner vision, outer vision, and smell. So it is the whole point of design is to get you connected with that cognition so that your decision making is clean and crisp and online so you know exactly what you're interacting with.
Interesting question and may relate to the 3740. What will the food system look like in the new energy?
Well, I honestly, it's breaking down
Yeah,
everything. Food system, financial system, school system, large business, all of these things are all breaking down. And we will need to be self-reliant. That's what human
yeah.
design teaches us is self-reliance. If you have the capacity to create your own food, I would highly recommend that you do that. Um, Using alternative sources to what is in the mainstream right now because that is going away. They want us to not be able to make decisions.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if any of you are aware of digital ID and all these kind of things. You look at Airbnb, you look at Lyft or Uber, and how that is operated is through like how many stars you gave, like what is your rating. So if you as a rider get a bad rating, then Airbnb and Uber and Lyft say, oh no, we're not going to allow you in our vehicles anymore. But if that driver actually took you to the space you didn't want to be and you want to give them a bad rating because the service was so bad or whatever it is, people aren't doing that, because the minute that you give a bad rating, they'll give a bad rating, and then you won't have a vehicle. Nobody will pick you up. So the socialist credit score is already taking place. And what does that do? That takes away your decision making. Completely takes away your decision making. And design is asking us, to reintegrate that. So that's why you see an uptick of things like cryptocurrency and different things like that, homeschooling or unschooling, I guess you could say. You see a lot of people going back to homesteading, or even growing their own foods in their own homes so that they can take back the control of their lives.
And it's always interesting to me that the 37 is the mouth and the 40 is the stomach, which is the definition of the cross of planning. And we're seeing around the world now, we're seeing the farmers fight back. They're trying to take the farmlands off. They're trying to create these GMO food crops and Frankenstein food. And it's almost like they're trying to lock us into the pattern of the cross of planning. So you will
Yep.
be reliant on our food source and you will not have homegrown food. So that always fascinates me with this.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. And again, it's like their last ditch effort
Yes.
to keep us under control.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I'm not sure if Gitas or Elgis or Victoria are still here. If you are, if there's anything you want me to share, or if you guys want to share anything about bodygraph chart or anything that's coming up. I know that the transits program is in the back now for anybody that wants to use their system to create transit charts, to create bodygraph charts. That's where
Yeah.
I got my charts from here as well.
Somebody
I'm in,
has asked that within the questions.
okay.
Where can we find the transits? Yeah.
Yep. You can use bodygraphchart.com as a system to grab those. Yes. So you can put in the date that I had here on the slide, and you'll be able to um, get that. What is it here? Okay, right here. So you'll be able to get that chart. Yeah. Okay. That we are at what time now?
Apologies
So,
to anybody I didn't get to with the questions. I've got like 21 still outstanding, but some of them are just like
oh,
little comments. So I've tried my best to keep up,
okay.
guys, with you.
So if you guys want to stick on, I'm okay to continue on. Tim, are you okay to be here? We can go
Yes.
for a little bit longer. Tim and
I'm
I are
okay.
both pure manifesting generators, so we could be here for the next 6 hours if anybody wants to listen. So I do see here there's one question. Farming, Bitcoin, are these things related to 2027? In the collective, we are changing. And yeah, all these new systems that take away the authority of big government, that's where we're moving to. That's 100% where we're moving to. So are these things related to 2027? Yeah, because we are shifting. Humanity is waking up and recognizing that we have to integrate and take back our own power. Because if we don't take back our own power, these large organizations will try their best to keep us locked in. And who are they? I see here there's a question. Well, government, large business, any large organization that is attempting to take away your control. That's who they are.
Yeah. it's the family, it's the community family channel, and there are ruling families that just maintain their position of power, and it's those people we need to be looking at. That's where our power is being given away to, and this is what integration is all about: reclaiming that power and saying, "I govern self, not you." You
Yes.
know,
Yep.
and we're seeing it now. We're seeing it on the world stage, but not in the mainstream. You know,
Yes.
because
Yes.
the mainstream is owned by these corporations and ruling families.
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Any thoughts on how to embody this new shift now? Decision making, my friend, decision making. Know your human design inside and out and know exactly who you are. So, whatever you represent, so those 26 activations in your chart, that is what you are designed to represent. And the openness, that's what you are designed to interact with in the world. But your representation is going to tell you, yes, I want to gain the wisdom of this experience. No, I do not. That is how you embody your decision making. That's how you don't allow for anything to pull you off your game, is represent that 26 activations to the best of your capacity through decision making. And then all that openness, that's all wisdom. And it's only wisdom if you interact with it from a place of centered monopole decision making. Oops. Thanks. And I guess I'm done there. Awesome. Okay. How are we feeling? How many people knows about that? Tim, how are you feeling? Gitas, Elgis, Victoria, anything that you guys want to share besides, so you can generate any of those charts that I had pulled up. You can do that through the generate chart tool through bodygraphchart.com as well. If you are operating a business for human design, and I do notice that you guys are also working on gene keys. And if you guys are operating your businesses and you want to have your own lead magnet, what I love the most about the bodygraph chart team is that I now have control over my own email list by providing a report and a place for people to grab their business chart off of my website. So that's powerofself.ca. So it, Gitas and Elgis are doing their part around really allowing us to take back our own control of our businesses away from, again, the larger organization, so that we can be autonomous in our businesses. So that's why Gitas and Elgis, that's why I connect with them. That's why we do these ventures together, because it's important to connect with and be very selective with who you do business, because that is going to indicate what kind of spirit is inside the business. Will corporations continue to exist? Yes, corporations are going to continue to exist. However, if any of you guys have heard of the Penta and the Wa, that is going to be in the future. That's why I deeply love human design, because it is a mechanical way of engineering teams together. So through the Penta and the Wa, it will be an energetic, mechanical way of building businesses versus what's happening now. And what's happening now is through lack, it is through fear, and it is all through the not self, because people will lie and scheme and do whatever they need to do to get that job because they have bills to pay. So in the future, okay, you become the currency, not money, not gold, not cryptocurrency, none of this. You're the currency. And because you are the currency and you're operating correctly from your mechanics, you will fit into the pieces of the puzzle of the Wa and the Penta correctly. And through that, organizations will feel different. That's why that 54 that is available to us is saying that corporations and capitalism is going to look different because it's going to have a different spirit inside of it. That 55 is there. It's going to have a different spirit inside of it. So corporations aren't going away. They are going to just look different. And again, this isn't going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up on, February 15th of 2027 and the whole world changes. Well, it could, I guess. I shouldn't say that it's not going to because I don't know that. But it's going to take time, right? It's going to take time for it to seep in. And if you guys want to know about the WA and the Penta and all that, like I have an excellent human design self-study and a mentorship. That's why Tim is here with me, because that's where we go into, because I am here. That's my whole entire purpose, is to be the contagion for this system so that business is completely adjusted into the future. So if you're a change agent and you really want to understand this material and you want to go out into the world and make a change, drop onto my website and get involved with us, because that's where we're going.
Yeah.
We're changing the landscape of business together.
Yeah. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
going to give a shout to your mentorship because I mean the unit itself, there's so many fantastic people in there. Everyone's learning from each other, everyone's bringing their skill set, and it's just a fantastic environment where you can just ask any question, have chart readings, and just get support and understanding. And it's not just scheduled just to the meets. There's a vibrant online platform like through Kajabi, like Facebook, questions are answered. There's Reiki shares, there's all sorts going on. So I can honestly, hand on heart, saying it's absolutely been the best thing for me for the last year, over a year. Yeah, meet
Yes.
your people.
Yes. Yes. And we're all very humble, kind, compassionate, and very modest. So you're not going to see me in there or any of the people involved in this community. We're not flashy. We're not, running for private jets or flashy cars or Prada. So if that's your thing, my community is not for you. We are very humble. We're conservative. Um, and we lean into the magic of Ra's material as well. So I do use legacy terms and legacy terminology because it deconditions the human being, because it is coming in and busting up that not self so that you can operate through your correct decision making. All right. Yes, Gita's recording will be shared. Thank you very much for letting me share in your community. I greatly appreciate it, Gita. I love it. Um, is it possible to come back as a rave child? Well, um, uh, I guess you get to decide whatever you want to do with your higher self. I'm not going to say yes or no or any of that. You get to make that choice. It's your fractal line of incarnations and whatever that is for you. So you get to make that decision. All right. I think that we'll take it to a close. It looks like questions have waned off. Is there anything, Tim, that you saw in there that you thought, well, maybe we should throw that in just cause? Anything?
Um, No, I would like to
Okay.
say though, like for me, I'm born under 29.6 commitment, and it is about making a commitment to your design. You can read about it, you can really, take information on, but until you commit and you commit with a whole heart authentically and just go on the journey, it can be rocky, it can be ups and downs, but it's exhilarating, and it's through that commitment that you're going to make your discoveries about self and lean into that and stick with it, tenacity of spirit and determination, looking to gate 46, the determination of the self. So as you fall backwards in the depths, you just keep pushing upwards. And design delivers. When I first started my discoveries with human design, I had a good background knowledge of spiritual wisdom, like different modalities, but I can tell you now it's magic. The more you lean into it, the better it gets. And there's just no stopping how far that 46 can go. It's just infinite. So yeah, commitment, guys, just lean in and lean into that integration. Yeah,
Yeah.
just my little bit there.
Yeah. Love it. So, yeah. Tim, thank you very much for being my cohort here. Gitas,
You're
Algis,
welcome.
Victoria, great appreciation for you sharing this in the community. And yeah, there will be an email and a replay of this. And thank you for the fun. Awesome. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Leanne.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Okay. Talk to everybody later. Thank you.
Okay, bye. Bye.